Hello, and welcome back to another morning movement mobility session. We are going to do about 20 to 30 minutes of gentle mobility work. All you need is potentially some yoga mat and floor, a little bit of space, potentially a chair or a wall to hold on to, and your body. So if you're ready, we'll get started down on the floor for our first circuit of moves. We're going to do 3 exercises all from the floor so you can move down here and get comfortable. If you need a little extra cushion for your knees or your hands, make sure to grab that. You could always stack an extra pillow underneath your knees. And we're going to start from this hands and knees position with some tail wags. So this is exactly what it sounds like, but we're going to shift our hips from one side to the other. Almost like you're trying to draw a semicircle with your hips. We're not getting the upper body involved, just moving from one side to the other, almost like you're crunching your ribs on that side as you move your hips back and forth, like you're wagging a tail. Might feel a little bit more stretch on one side or the other. It might feel really stiff at first, and that's also okay. Just think about creating that semicircle type of movement as you go from one side to the other. We'll do one more each side, and then rest. Our second one is going to be for hip mobility with some 90-90 leg drops. We have a couple options for you here, but you're going to try to sit upright on your tailbone. If you need to have your back against a wall, you could do so, and your hands are behind you to support you. Start with your feet quite a bit apart, about 3 feet, and then you're going to drop your knees towards the ground. They may not go as far as mine go. They may only lower about halfway, but you're going to drop them to one side and then the other. If it feels comfortable, you can kind of bring the torso forward, especially as your knees make it to the ground, or you can stay more leaned back. It's more challenging for the hip mobility to bring the torso forward. And again, if your movement looks more like this type of windshield wiper, that's totally okay. Just meet your range of motion where it's at and let your weight shift to the side. We're also just letting the feet naturally follow the movement and drop. You're not moving them around or replacing them. You're just letting them fall thanks to that nice wide stance. Last one, and rest. Good. Then for our third one, we're going to be lying on your back on the mat for some single leg gallops. So also, just like you might imagine, we're going to do one leg at a time, drawing it up, kicking that foot, straightening it, and making this kind of horse-like gallop motion. Reaching that heel up towards the ceiling after you bring the knee in. And this is a little bit engaging on the quad, so we won't do too many. Go ahead and pause, and now reverse, going the other direction. So a reverse gallop. You might hear some cracks or creaks. That's totally okay. We'll do one more, and then rest. Switch legs, and now with that other side, bring the leg in, kicking the heel up, and lowering it back down. If it's more comfortable, you can have this other leg bent at the knee with your foot close to your butt, or you can keep it straight for a little extra hip mobility. Now let's reverse. That's totally up to you. And again, your circle can be smaller than mine. Just work within whatever range of motion feels comfortable for you and your body today. Every day is a little bit different. One more. And rest. Very nice. All right, as per usual, we'll repeat all of these one more time for 2 rounds total. So find your way back to that hands and knees position. Try to make sure you're not arching your back. You don't need to round it either, but just a nice flat position is good. And then bringing your hips from one side to the other. You can even kind of visualize this from your spine. We're keeping that middle and upper part of the spine really straight, but we're letting the pelvis shift from one side to the other. Totally normal to feel a little bit of core engaging to bring the hips through this mobility. Also a little mobility at the rib cage. Do one more after this one on each side. And rest. And then come back to your seated position here. Hands behind you for support. Maybe try just pushing yourself forward a little bit for the second round. And then drop the knees. And if you feel comfortable, you can kind of lean forward as you drop. Again, if your knees are halfway, it would look like this. There's no pressure to force the range of motion all the way to the ground. Just stick with what feels like a natural flow, even if it doesn't feel totally natural, just whatever feels most comfortable. It's really making the angle that joint is at in the hip socket adjust as we shift side to side. One more for each direction. And rest. Very good. And then we're laying down on your back for those single leg gallops. Choosing whichever side you want to start with. If you want to have the other leg bent at the knee, you can. We'll start with that forward galloping motion. We're going to do 5 and then reverse for 5. Kicking that heel up, reaching out. And now reverse. And feel free to go at your own speed. Tucking that heel in. One more. And rest. And then we'll get the other side. Give you a moment to transition. Take a breath. And then start that single leg galloping motion. Good. Big extension if you can, or stay within your regular comfortable range of motion. And now reverse. Also good coordination practice, figuring out how to reverse that motion. One more. And rest. Very good. All right, that concludes our floor portion for the day. So go ahead and make your way up to a standing position. This is where we'll do the remainder of our exercises. The first one is going to be a standing I to Y to T. This is often one that we've done in a bent over position, at least with the Y's and T's, but we're going to do this standing today to show you a different modification. I'm going to start with arms by my sides and then bring them into an I, just gently moving the shoulders as far as I can. Then a Y, and then into a T. Give you a side view for the next one. I, focusing on that movement coming from the shoulders, not from the lower back. Try not to slip into too much of an arch. And then a T. Very good. I, and you can take your time with this one. Y and T, pulling out that movement from the shoulders. And remember, your exact movement may not look the same as mine. Maybe your hands only get up to there. That's totally okay. Just find where it feels like that natural end point of your stretch. I, these are our last ones. Y and T. Very good. All right, the second one is going to be a one leg side lateral lunge, essentially like a warrior two pose if you're familiar with yoga. I have one leg with my toes facing forward. My other leg is a bit spread apart with my toes pointing forward. Just find the stance that's comfortable for you. And then we're going to take this knee and push it forwards, just as far as is comfortable, and then come back to standing. So we're kind of moving actively through that motion. And if this at all didn't feel comfortable, you could do the same thing with your toes pointing forward. And again, your stance doesn't have to be this wide. Your movement doesn't have to go this far. Just stay within what feels comfortable. And one more. Good. And then that toe turns forward, other toe turns outward. And then we're sending that knee straight in line with the toes. A nice tall posture is good for this one. Sinking into that knee a little bit as you lunge forward. It's just a mini lunge, but really targets that hip mobility by going into the stretch with the legs in this position. One more. And rest. Good. Alrighty. And our third one is going to be a nice one. It's just a side neck stretch. So for this, we're going to think about bringing our ear towards our shoulder and taking these fingertips and just reaching them towards the ground. Or if you want to touch more, you can just gently hold your hands behind your back. Don't tug too much. You can choose the option, reaching the fingertips or gently holding the hand that feels good for you. Thinking about lengthening through this. Just thinking about lengthening that can really amplify the stretch that you're getting in that area. And take a breath, bring your head back up, and then do the other side. Again, maybe it's reaching the fingertips down. You should feel that create extra tension in that stretch. Or maybe it's gently grabbing onto the fingertips. There's no pressure to get more stretch. Just see what feels good. And take one breath here in and out. And then bring your head back up to center. All right, as per usual, we'll do this for a second round, starting with those IYT arm raises. So my feet are mostly together, and then starting with hands at the sides, bring the arms up and overhead in that I, and then out into that Y, and then out into that T. And we'll rinse and repeat. Again, the movement should really be coming from the shoulders, not from the spine and the lower back. And really think about keeping the arms long as you reach. Doing the I, hands come back down. Y, Hands come back down and T. Arms come back down. We'll do one more time for each of these positions. I, Y, and last one, our T. Very good. All right, second one, back into that split stance lunge position. One foot, toes pointing forward, other foot. See if you can try a slightly wider stance this time with the toes pointing outward. Nice strong core position as you push the knee forward and bring it back. Push that knee, come back up. Taking your time. We'll do two more on this side. Might notice this quad, feel like it's engaging a little bit. It's helping do that work. And switch and point the other toe outwards and reach before pressing back up. Good. We're doing 6 or 7 on each side. Moving again at your own pace. Staying nice and tall with your posture. Maybe even thinking of pulling the shoulders back just a little bit. We'll do 2 more. And 1 more. Rest. Very good. Alrighty, and then the last one is that side neck stretch. Again, choose whatever side you want to start with. Drop that ear towards your shoulder and think about lengthening in those fingertips down to the ground, or gently holding on to the fingertips behind you. And actually, it's these fingertips that I'm reaching. Whichever way helps you feel more of that stretch. Taking a big breath in and exhaling, and bring the head up and over to the other side, reaching the opposite fingertips down. Really think about pulling your head away from your shoulder. That creates a much more active stretch. Reach those fingertips down and take a breath in and let it out. Very nice. All right, we have our last 2 moves that we're going to do today, bringing the focus down to the lower body. We're going to do some ankle circles. This is where holding on to either a chair or the wall, something for balance, comes in handy, as we just need to lift 1 foot off of the ground. Make sure your heel's off the ground, and then you're just going to draw a big circle. I like to think about my toe drawing a circle to help with coordination. Again, you might feel a little uncoordinated, but it'll get better the more you do it. And then now we're going to go the other direction. It's important with these not to go too fast. Sometimes we can kind of rush through them because the circle feels a little bit squiggly. So just take your time and do 1 more. And then rest for a moment, and we'll repeat on the other side. Again, pick any direction, clockwise or counterclockwise to start with, and do that nice circle. Again, not too fast. 1 more, and then reverse and go the other direction. And it's totally okay to do these in shoes. You might find it's a little bit easier to do not in a shoe, so that you have a little more freedom at the ankle and no weight holding on to the foot. Last one, and rest. Good. Alrighty, and then the last one is going to be a standing cat-cow type of movement. It's going to be even more for the thoracic spine. That's where we're going to think of that movement coming from. We're just going to kind of open up the chest as we do let the back arch a little bit. and then round forward, almost like you're hugging a beach ball. So it's a big open and close, letting the spine move with this one. We didn't really let the spine move when we did the IYTs. And so it doesn't have to be a huge movement of the spine and the hips, but you can just let it naturally go into that rounding and arching as it follows the movement of your arms. One more, think about squeezing the shoulder blades and spreading them out, and then rest. All right, we have one more time with each of these, and then we're done. So find your position, again, holding on to something for a little bit of balance. Raise one foot and begin drawing that big circle, or use whatever mental imagery helps you with getting that rotation at the ankle joint. Again, slow is key. And now reverse. And this is one in particular that you might really notice one side seems a lot more comfortable than the other. That's totally normal, but that's why it's good to work mobility independently, one side from the other. Also good to do things where we work both sides at the same time, but nice to give each side its own chance to shine. And rest. The other side, take a moment to collect yourself, and then do those big circles. Good, again, slowly. Especially as you go towards the outside, that can be a part even I notice I try to speed through. And reverse. One more. And rest. Very good. Alrighty. Then getting yourself in position for that cat-cow one more time. Bringing the arms back. And then hugging them forward. Letting the hips and the spine move with you as you open and close. It's a great option to have in your arsenal if ever doing something in that hands and knees position doesn't feel as enticing. You can get a very similar type of movement with this version of the standing cat-cow. We'll do two more. Focusing on the shoulder blades, squeeze and spread. Very good. Alrighty, well that wraps up our morning movement mobility session today. I really hope that you enjoyed it and feel limbered up, ready to tackle a workout, a walk, or some cardio, or just ready for your day. We'll be back on regular schedule for the next couple of weeks with our Tuesday sessions. So I hope to see you next week, same time, same place.